Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a best of 3 series of top level Terran versus Zerg. What I've got for you today is a series where we're starting off on Alcyone and spawning right here in the top right hand corner, playing with the blue Terran pieces. We have a man I haven't actually seen in quite a long time. I haven't really casted any of his games, I haven't seen him participate in too many tournaments. We're looking at none other than Ryung's main command center. His opponent, down in the bottom left, somebody who's been playing in literally everything as of late with the red Zerg pieces. We have none other than SHIN. Alrighty, now, apparently we're starting off this particular series with a very fast gold base. I always like this. I've always been a fan of this strategy, even though I don't think it's particularly good. It is spicy. It's a hot way to start off a series. So you can mine out that one skinny mineral field right over here and then grab that gold base really quickly. A lot of the top level Terrans, especially the Koreans, they have been skipping out scouting altogether. Sometimes they will go for a double barracks, I guess, and open up with triple Reaper, and therefore they will get some sort of scouting information, and usually it should still start off with a single Reaper, even if you go for a barracks. But it's becoming more and more common as of late to open up with one Marine, no SCV scout, no information whatsoever. So let's see what Ryung decides to go for. This rally point has me a little... yeah. Okay, at least there's an SCV going across the map. There's not a whole lot he can do about the gold base, though. That gold base is up and running at this point. There will be a command center on the back of this, but this gold base is certainly gonna go up. At this point, SHIN does not yet know about the little victory, but it certainly counts as we're making a little bit of a drone transfer. Now, it will, of course, take a couple minutes before that gold base really kicks in. The golden minerals, they return 7 minerals a trip rather than the conventional 5. Ryung right now has seen the natural, he's seen the third, he knows that it's got to be the gold. And he will see indeed that those golden resources are already brought in. Okay. Instant Roach Warren 2 by SHIN. Skipping out metabolic boost. SHIN is going for a proxy hatchery out on the map, and then straight into what seems to be a roach push. We do go metabolic boost here eventually, and a second gas as well, but this means that SHIN wants to go for an all-in. Now, he did end up losing his scouting overlord, it looks like. Generally speaking, that makes going for an all-in a hell of a lot harder, but Ryung has no clue about this push. Yeah, he stopped droning altogether. The plan is to make roaches, follow it up with a lot of Zerglings, morph Ravagers in on the other side of the map, and see if you can win the game. And this is the exact counter to these very greedy Terran builds that we've been seeing as of late. It's a risky build order against a lot of Terran openers, but when Terran cuts one too many corners, this is something that can just straight up win you the game. There is a starport coming up eventually, so at least that's nice. Ryung will be able to go up towards, for example, Banshees. I think that's probably the plan. Make a tech lab right here on that, that barracks, and then, well, eventually move it over. If we can get there, that is the light at the end of the tunnel. But the push is already commencing. Ravagers are being morphed in. Zergling speed is just about to finish up. We should see an awful lot of production on the back of this right now. Only 19 drones, though. At least one thing that I do like right here for SHIN is the fact that he only has 2 CC. Very commonly, this build is played with triple CC. He's going for a bunker right now, so he realizes that something is wrong. He's also prioritizing that concussive shells upgrade. But already, we're knocking on the door. Curious to see that he doesn't go for the transition. I think he wants to go Marauders here because it feels safer. But I really think that ultimately what you need here is a Banshee. Apparently, he's disagreeing so far. Nice little bit of hold position control right now on those SCVs. Good target firing as well with the Marauder and the one Marine inside of the bunker, but ultimately I just don't see enough Terran to really hold this, and just like that, game number 1 is over. Next up, we find ourselves on Amphion. This time around, Ryung has decided to open up with double barracks. At the very least, he'll be able to send some units across the map. We haven't really seen any of Maru's games in quite a while. I guess seeing Ryung's games, since he's on the same team and he seems to talk to Maru quite a bit, maybe that's the closest we're gonna get to Maru's strategies for the time being. It has been a little bit since we've seen the absolute cream of the crop participate in StarCraft events. Both Serral and Maru, generally speaking, don't really sign up for anything. Although it is confirmed now that Serral is going to go to Home Story Cup, so at the very least, we are going to be seeing some of his games in the next couple of weeks. Let's see, though, what Ryung can do over here with these Reapers. Yeah, the nice thing is that this type of build order, even when you do skip the SCV Scout, you will always have Reapers out on the map, and you can still put on some pressure. This is not really something that Zerg can easily counter. Okay, I thought for a second we were just going 2 Reapers, but no. He did add on the 3rd, was just waiting for the extra 50 gas to come in. 6 Zerglings will indeed be forced out, and SHIN already going for a very rapid 3rd hatchery. He's skipping out on the gas himself now. So we go from playing a very greedy game number 1 on the Terran side of things to now playing a very greedy game number 2 on the Zerg side of things. But I like this better here for SHIN, because he's got a bit of wiggle room in this series. This is, by the way, the live version of the patch, not the PTR. So the queens are still 150 minerals. The hatchery is still 300. Couple of small changes. On the whole, though, for this matchup, it should allow, I guess, a little bit more of like Terran turtling. That's one of the things they're specifically addressing with the upcoming patch. With the reduction of the armor, for example, on a planetary fortress, and the increase of the supply count for the Ghost. Little changes here and there. Ultimately, it won't really make that much of a difference, but at the very least, turtling is going to be slightly harder to execute. Anyways, 3rd CC will come up nice and quickly. This is going to be what ends up as a 2-1-1, so we should see Stimpak right around right now. Right now. Okay, we're going to maybe make a starport first, and then we're going to go Stimpak. Right around, okay. We're waiting for 100 gas. And then we should go Stimpak. Okay, we're just ignoring Loko. Fair enough. Roach Warren once more coming here for SHIN. It's gonna allow him to go into that that relatively defensive position. This looks very similar to the previous game, but it's a very different setup. Yes, we've got a bunch of hatcheries, and yes, we have a Roach Warren nice and early once more, but this is SHIN using the Roach Warren as a defensive tool. He doesn't have Zergling speed, can't really go for an all-in based off of that. And by the time that he does get across the map, we're actually going to go Banshees. By the time that he does get across the map, there will pretty much always be a Banshee out with a Roach Warren timed at this specific moment. Now, going 2-1-1 into triple CC into Banshee is a little funky. Generally speaking, you go Stimpak into mass marine production. That explains why the Stimpak wasn't necessarily very quick. The idea here is that Ryung is going to be able to follow this up with a relatively strange follow, and that is going to be that Banshee. You would imagine that most of the time, with a double barracks opener like that, you would follow it up with quick medevac production, because usually you get a lot of Marines. And this is technically a little risky, because the Banshee is going to hit very late. But because it is technically uncommon, right, and it's quote-unquote a bad timing for the Banshee, there's a very good chance that SHIN, knowing very well that usually the follow-up is going to be medevacs, that he actually does not have any preparation here against the Banshees. It's a little bit of a reverse mind game. It's an anti-timing, I guess. Where normally the Cloaked Banshees would already be on the other side of the map right now. In a regular game of 1-1-1, in this particular instance, they're going to hit like 45 seconds late. But because of that, they will be more effective. Which is only a good play at the highest level, okay? That is not a reason to justify your push hitting late. It only works because he knows that he knows that he knows that they know. There's a lot of reverse strategies here. Now, this is a nice scout by SHIN. Yep, and he immediately fires up 3 Spore Crawlers. And that's gonna slow this game down as soon as those spores are done. But one of the Banshees is already going to town inside of that mineral line. No target firing, though. He's busy microing those Marines. At least he's targeting those roaches, but I've got a feeling that the Banshee should have been able to secure about 7, 8, maybe even 9 kills. Ultimately, Ryung only gets 4 of those drones for the time being. Just now got a 5th, but I don't really love that. I think there could have been a little bit more. So now, this is a really clean early game for SHIN. He's going to be able to knock on the front door a little bit. Maybe kill Tech Lab if he really tries. Banshee, by the way, still finding a bit of an angle. A couple of the shots right there going onto the assimilator, the extractor here, but Okay. Honestly, that Banshee still getting that many workers is quite nice. Thought for a second it was gonna fall flat on its face. It's not done yet. Yeah, still a good number of kills there, and that actually makes this game very playable for Ryung. If you don't do any damage and you're this committed and your 2-1-1 falls flat on its face, and just in general you deal no damage, you do find yourself in a tough mid-game. This is obviously very much so a momentum-based matchup, right? If you get the ball rolling in ZVT, usually it's really good. I would call this a slight advantage for SHIN at the moment, but maybe these two medevacs can change the tide of battle. SHIN does not yet know about this, because that Overlord in the middle of the map has been cleared out. And that means that we are gonna see Stimpack right about right now. Hello. Hi. I was wondering where they were coming from. Probably just double checking here with the Banshees that the queens are preoccupied before committing. Decides to right click the hatch, and he does force the cancel. And that really slows down SHIN. In the meantime, the Banshees still going to town. All right. Yeah. It's a reverse anti-timing that didn't work. But then ultimately, it still dealt a lot of damage when it wasn't supposed to. It's one of those weird rules of StarCraft. Technically, it was countered, but realistically, it wasn't yet. Okay. So, SHIN no longer feels confident to go for any sort of mid-game timing attack. So he's saying, yo, let's not play the mid-game at all. He's tried to skip the early game. He's tried to skip the mid-game right now, too. He's going straight into a hive, straight into a lurker den. This is very quick. We're not even 8 minutes in. And we're already getting those structures going, especially after losing 13 drones. He's got 83 workers of economy still. Quite greedy here by SHIN, but that's the nice thing about Roach Ravager Hydra. Very few attacks can actually kill you. There are some timings here from Ryung that could have played out, but you kind of have to make the decision to go for those pushes before you know what the opponent is really going to go for. So, it's a bit of a gamble. You do that against, like, I don't know, any sort of Ling Bane-based unit call, but can just fall flat on its face. Instead, though, what we have for the Terran player right now is mass economy as well. So, 4th Command Center coming up. He's going into the double upgrades. SCVs go back to mining inside of the main base. He's already going for double factory production here, so we're already pumping out siege tanks 2 at a time. That means we're playing the big macro game. I feel like we haven't seen a lot of big macro games as of late. Very popular about a month or 2 ago. But this is one of those games where both players wanted to do something else. They've been thrown off. And apparently, ultimately, we default to playing the big games. My coffee is getting cold. But this is the type of game where we have a little bit of downtime now. Yeah. I always like it when we see the hive done before Zergling speed. I think it's funny because quite literally every single build order under the sun for Zerg, until about a year ago, always started with Zergling speed. And these days, it's one of the last upgrades that you get when you open up like this. Just kind of fun. The Roaches and the Ravagers, by the way, very much so a stepping stone here for the Zerg. So he's using the Roaches and the Ravagers so he can skip out on the Zergling production for now. And he's using them to tech up really quickly. Once we get to Hydra Lurker Viper, usually the follow-up is Zergling Bane. And then the age of the Roach is over. Lurkers are already set up. Spine Crawlers are already set up. Ryung finding an opportunity to kill one drone over here in the far top right, but I don't really see him doing a whole lot over here. There's already Vipers out. Yeah. Abductions are being accumulated right now. Needs to get some of that energy. But this should be held relatively well. I mean, that's a lot of siege tanks. 8 siege tanks is significant. But what you can always do here as a Zerg is just abduct the siege tanks within lurker range. And at that point, it's going to be really hard to stop. We don't yet, by the way, really have any crazy upgrades here. No. Oh, we do have a Ghost Academy. Okay, I was wondering about that. No other units other than Marines and tanks for now. Well, with the siege tanks completely unprotected, hello. We're not even going to bring them back home. Instead, we're going to try. We're sacrificing the siege tanks in exchange for a spine crawler or 2. I mean, he's also getting a lot of Zerglings and some leftover units, but I don't think this justifies losing like 6-7 siege tanks. At least the Marine squad over here managed to force the council on that base, but that was not an exchange. That really worked out. Maybe if Ryung targeted the hatch, like if he stimped up there, left the siege tanks alone, killed the hatchery, and then also the drones, maybe I would have liked it then, but this like half-committed target firing doesn't really get you anywhere. Still though, a lot of kills on the side of the Zerg here. A lot of losses for SHIN, who's now giving up on his roaches. Yeah, this is a sad day in the life of a roach fan. Oh my god. Sorry about that. Bit of collateral damage there. Boom, baby! Gets the job done. Jimmy also. Yeah. Got sniped. Splitty, splitty, splitty. Splitty? No splitty. Okay, that means that we got a lot of damage taken. In the meantime, Marine drop in the top left. This is the base right below the main. Yeah, even though Ryung is donating a few too many units for my liking, maybe I've been watching too many of Clem's games as of late. Clem is always very clean when it comes to his ZVT aggression. Even though he's losing a little bit more than he really needs to, he's also dealing a lot of damage. He's actually getting a ton of damage done. Now, drone damage though, at this point in the game is nice. But when we're at this tech, Zerg is kind of done with droning. Like, we can still add on workers. And despite losing now 31 of those bad boys, he's still sitting at 89 drones. It's a good number. Nidus network coming up. Spore crawlers are building. A mass baneling transition here. I really like what SHIN is doing here. I've been critical of some of his build orders, but I feel like overall this strategy here that he's playing is really strong. I've actually heard of some of the European pros saying that they've been studying SHIN games as of late, and they've been trying to figure out what he seems to be doing. Okay. Absolute murder over here. The spore crawlers coming in clutch. Big attack over here. The lurkers are not present. Oh, we're just gonna roll them or right-click them into... Oh, no, 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 no! It's just like that hatchery from earlier! What? No way! Well, that was like a 50 baneling donation, man. Jeez. That's like almost killing an Archon. The shields will regenerate. Ryung has been a little bit unlucky. Now SHIN has also been a little bit unlucky. SCVs have brought this back up to full HP, and that just now flipped this game upside down. Because that was a tremendous amount of losses for SHIN. It's gonna give Ryung all the time that he needs to go back into that mass command center production. He's now going into a fusion core, so he can start up his Liberator play. Oh, a couple of ghosts here, a little overly ambitious. A couple of siege tanks not sieged up. Ugh. Don't love this. A very quick 1-2 punch right here by SHIN. Showing up a little bit quicker again on the other side of the map than I expected, and evidently also what Ryung expected, but there's a reason why. Yeah. This was, despite him catching his opponent off guard, very inefficient. No cancel on that hatchery in the top right, so nice kill right there by Ryung. SHIN's army is gonna take nosedive after nosedive at this rate. Ghost Academy, going for a tactical nuke here. We do have a Nidus network being thrown across that skinny mineral wall in the back of the natural. Ryung, though, has been playing this game for a long time. He knows exactly that he needs to leave a couple of those units behind. Advanced ballistics researching? Okay. Man, this game has been yo-yoing back and forth. Very cool. Hard to call really who's ahead right now. Even though we have the perfect information and we can see the whole map and all the income. For these players, it's actually a very difficult call to make. Because you know both of you have been losing a lot, but no cancel again. SHIN loses another 350 minerals here. Taken into consideration. Oh, tactical nuke. The cost of that drone as well. Tactical nuke coming in from the side. Oh no. Oh no! SHIN! Okay, he does see. He does see. He does see. He's hunting. The hatchery lives for now. The ghost does not. This is that hatchery from earlier that should have been killed then. Yeah, and SHIN is struggling getting these outer bases up. So he's done a good job taking this expansion over here, but the 9 o'clock is not really working all too well for him. The siege tank harassment over here is also good enough to keep this alive, and this base is just, wow. A donation. Good guy Shin, donating a little bit of stuff here to Ryung. In the meantime, Ryung is using this as an opportunity right now to get another tactical nuke, yes, but also additional factories. He's going from Marine Marauder Medevac into Ghosts into Ghost Mech. Here we go. We've got all the upgrades coming up, all the things we need here to make a very powerful Death Ball. Not a very common follow-up anymore. These days, most Terrans seem to favor going Ghost Liberator. And I actually kind of expected when he started making Liberators that he wouldn't go into the additional factory production. At least we rarely see Clem making this transition from this point. But apparently Ryung thinks it's a good choice. How many orbitals are we on? Another tactical nuke. We're currently at 6 orbital commands. This tactical nuke is coming in from that little Reaper path. The Reaper corridor, man. Oh my god, he actually gets it. That's lovely. So, in order to land that nuke, you actually do need high ground vision. So Ryung throws a couple of scans around the map, and one of them was to provide that vision. You kind of have to fake the scans, you know? Alright. Good land right there for Ryung. Greater Spire coming up. Base over here, the far left side of the map. Yeah, not really achieving too much. No, this is gonna be defended, I would imagine. Ryung should be pushed back here. Shin in the meantime trying out his hand at fighting the bottom right-hand corner, but this choke point is not an easy one. In the meantime, those Marines that were hunting down the hatch in the top right-hand corner, they now find another exposed hatch. This is that third base that we saw taken at like minute 1. It got sniped quickly. And the harassment here from Ryung is really solid. Now, we are missing one aspect here for Shin. Shin is, he's trying to go for that mass Nidus Worm style, right? That's kind of what we're doing here. Another tactical nuke coming in. But we're not seeing all the overseers. We're not seeing all of the transitions here. Oh my god, he decides to go after the ghost that is casting the nuke? I don't think so, man. Oh no, oh no. 14 additional workers end up going down. Yikes. Look at this guy, 24 confirmed kills. Not bad whatsoever. Shindo has been mining so much more for such a long time that despite all of those losses, the game is actually playable. As a matter of fact, I would even say that he's slightly ahead. Now, one of the reasons why Ryung's bank is so small is because he's making that transition towards mech. He's going additional factories, he's going into all of those nukes, he's going into the Liberators. This is all really good eventually, but it also means he has to pay for all the upgrades, all of the structures, all of the info, like just everything, right? It's a ton of work, and it's costing him thousands of minerals and gas. So it needs to pay off in the long run. And I wonder if this is the reason why we don't generally see the very best of the best Terrans execute this transition at this point in the game. Used to be more popular. But these days, this is the preferred play. I mean, I love the mass nuking, though. Another tactical nuke this time around in the middle of the map. There's nothing over there. But at least it's a distraction. Shin has to look for that red dot. It's gonna land. This is a nuke for the fans. That was for you, man. That one was for you. Yeah. That was... yeah. You're welcome. Alright, anyways. Ryung trying to see if he can get another base going. So the problem here for Ryung is that he needs one of the bases, either the 3 o'clock or the 9 o'clock position. Shin's been mining the both of them for some time, especially the one over here on the left side of the map. He's been mining this one for some time. And if he can obviously take all of his bases on his side of the map plus one, right? He can steal one of the bases from the Terran. Not only does he get a significant amount more resources, but it means that he, well, can start trading extremely cost inefficiently. Despite all of these losses, look at this, 9,000-ish minerals more. Similar amount of gas loss, but those minerals are significant. Oh my god, Ryung also going crazy here with the command centers. We already have 8 orbitals. We're making 3 more? Okay. Now we're going for a full starport transition too. So we're going full barracks, full factory. Now we're going full starport. Ryung is playing this game like the map is never gonna run out. Now look at the mini-map, dude. He is scanning left, right, and center. Another tactical nuke flies across the screen. And I like this all from Ryung. If resources were unlimited, it's a risky play right now. We do have Brute Lord, Infestor, Viper, a couple of Hydras, Corruptors, Queens. There's a couple Lurkers, I'm sure, somewhere. We have a lot of stuff. Another Fusion Core? 2 Fusion Cores. Okay. Mate, are we gonna go full... I think he's going for another Fusion Core here, so he can go into a full planetary... Or, sorry, a full planetary. Full battle cruiser transition. There's zero reason here to make a Fusion Core, but I wonder if that's the call. Dude, he's building so much. Ryung, if you want to play SimCity, that's great, but that's a different game, dude. I heard the new City Skylines updates are pretty good. He's actually, he's spending so much money here on structures. This is obviously one of the big advantages for Zerg. You make one tech structure and, well, a couple hatcheries and you're good. He has still got a lot of money in the bank, but he's like 1 production cycle away from being broke. Like, he's going 9 factories. Okay, Brute Lord's actually advancing right now. Fungal, oh, big Fungal, and the Ghost will end up going down. Oh, SHIN gets a golden engagement here. Zerglings slip through the cracks too. Apparently they decide to run away again as they want to have the Brute Lords finish the job. Suddenly, everybody's got a plan until 15 Brute Lords hit you in the face. Desperately, we're going back to Marine and Siege Tank and Thor and all the rest production here. But this was not the plan for Ryung. Yeah, and this is one of those situations, man, where your bank is actually going to plummet real quick. Oh, no. His resource is actually running out. Like, yeah, you've got 24 orbital commands. But if you use mules for mining, you obviously also run out of cash real rapidly because you mine out those mineral fields super fast. Fungal, 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 Fungal. Oh, Neural. Oh, he used a Neural right here on a Ghost to EMP the rest of the Ghosts. He's using Terran units to fight Terran units. We did have another tactical nuke going across the map somewhere, but I think it already has been denied. Oh, no. Oh, good. Okay. Ryung is losing everything now. Ay. Blue Flame Hellbats in the front. At least they will be able to kill all of these Brutelings real quick. And suddenly, it's almost like Ryung forgot that there was another player in the game. He was just building structures and putting down a highway and making a roundabout and putting up his public transit. He's thinking about creating a metro underground, you know, make sure that his troops can go around the map a little bit quickly. And then he realized, wait a second, this isn't SimCity. There's an insect player out there somewhere. Maybe it's one of the disasters, you know? You have like earthquakes. You have earthquakes, you have fires. Apparently we now also have alien infestations. Okay, moving onwards once again. I mean, the Banelings are costly though, but SHIN still has quite a bit of money in the bank. He needs to be careful, because this is the type of army that can very quickly drain your bank. Those Brute Lords are getting countered now. Thor's doing a great job. Now, when we finally get to this stage in the game is when the Ultras get to say hello. The Ultra Caravan was built a long time ago. He did go kite in his plating. Oh, Neural Parasite right now. My god. SHIN is having a hard time countering Terran units, so he's using Terran units to counter Terran units. Kind of a brilliant plan, really. Yeah, this is where the Thors, though, do start putting in the work, and they are now using that high-impact mode to gun those Brute Lords out of the sky. 12 Ultralisks are coming up. SHIN actually now losing so many Overlords and Overseers that he is supply blocked again. It's a little bit risky. But 12 Ultras can very rapidly end this game. If there's no Ghosts available... Okay, there's 11 of them. If there's no Liberators available, there's none of those. Technically, Ultras could be good, but it's all about the engagement. Keep in mind, this is the current version of the game. So these are the derpy Ultras, the ones that get stuck on everything. Huge amount of changelings going down. Oh, my lord. Oh, that is... Yeah, we're gonna... He was 2,400 minerals, 2,500 minerals or so a minute behind. But these mules They make up for that, at least temporarily. I mean, I guess with this amount of orbital commands, he can do it continuously, but the problem is that those mineral fields are gonna be mined out fast. Okay, so SHIN has mined this entire base on the 3 o'clock position. There's nothing Ryung is gonna do about it. That means that the last contested base is the one right over here. Both players will be able to max out one more time. Both players actually with a very similar amount of money in the bank. The scans here do reveal the transition towards Mass Ultra, by the way, which is why we have Liberators coming up again. But here we go. Ultras go up into the choke point on the high ground. I don't think I like this position very much for SHIN, but somehow, some way, his Ultras are making their way to the front. Here's once more the Infestors coming in. Can we EMP them at the very least? Okay, some of them ended up going down. Good target firing right there by Ryung, using those siege tanks to his advantage. Couple medevacs left over from the early game decide to land underneath the leftover brutes. Siege tanks, okay, will stay alive for now as all of the Ultras disappear. SHIN decides to go back to Ultra production once more. We have Ultra Lingbane together with some Hydras. This is the Zerg player, though, smashing his piggy bank and trying to, well, get together a little Christmas present. Let's see what Ryung can do about it, who's in a very similar situation. After building up about, 9 factories and all of those starports, we're going back to Marine Hellion production now. Dude, if Ryung did not make all of that tech, he would just be able to make Marine Marauder, Medevac, Ghost, and he would be in a really good position. I know it sounds kind of lame because this is a super complex and very cool game, but I genuinely believe that Ryung would have been much better off if he just stuck around on Marine Marauder. Whew, okay. It's funny, by the way, how the first game in the series was a couple minutes. Then this game has been full macro. All right, SHIN has brought everything that he's got. He had 2 leftover lurkers right now. They thought they were retired. Not the case. Back to fighting we go. This is where a lot of that tech is located. We can lift off and keep some of these structures alive. Okay, we're not doing that. In the meantime, Zergling Hydra here denying that expansion on the left. SHIN's entire game plan is to deny this base repeatedly, over and over and over again. Knowing very well that Terran is not going to be able to maneuver around the map as easily as he can. That 3 o'clock base, though, is going to run out. Top right and base was denied about 17 times, but SHIN is now finally mining that one out too. Ryung's, chances in this game are dwindling. He needs this base. Without this base, he's actually just gonna bleed out. He's got a lot of minerals in the bank, so he, I guess, can make a bunch of Marines, and that's pretty good. But Ultras do tear Marines apart. Same for Zerglings at this stage in the game. Same for Banelings, same for Lurkers. So basically everything here that SHIN has is good against Marines. What Ryung needs is Ghosts. Ghosts, Marines, Liberators, Siege Tanks, that sort of thing. And he's got some of it. Maybe some additional Hellbats would be nice. Was that a command center going down to a spore crawler? Like, all right. Let's pretend that that didn't happen. It's not every day that you see a command center dying to a spore crawler. Oh my lord. Okay. SHIN has decided that he's done. Dinner is ready. The microwave went bling. We are spending our money, our final resources, on 41 Banelings. Where do we roll the Banes? I mean, Ryung is setting up a really nice turtle position here. I find this brave from SHIN. This can very easily fall flat on its face. I like this actually from Ryung. Completes the wall off with another command center. I don't think you really need the command center, but you know what? If you have the minerals, it's probably better than making a bunch of Marines. One lurker here. Trying its very best. He does have 15 Corruptors, by the way. Yeah, I think Brute Lords are actually quite good. Keep in mind, though, that the Thors are still around. It's only 2 of them. So they can actually put up a bit of a fight against, like, maybe 4 or 5 of these Brutes. Same for the Ghosts. But there's not a ton of Ghosts, and there's not a ton of Thors either. So if SHIN can actually cook up, like, 15 Brute Lords here, that would be amazing for him. I think that's probably the game-winning composition. But he just spent all of his gas on Banelings, so I don't know. Yeah, I think he's regretting it. Good scan. Good scan here by Ryung. He sees what he's going up against. Fires up another Thor. Another 2 Thors. You know what? SHIN is ultimately mining this base. Or, sorry, Ryung is ultimately mining this base. SHIN was also mining it in the past. Those SCVs are dealing with tainted mineral fields. Mineral fields that smell like Zerg. Ugh. In the meantime, by the way, there is this expansion right over here. You know what? That base is actually... Didn't Ryung mine this for quite a while? I can't quite click on the mineral fields. He did mine this for quite a while, but those mineral fields are looking really healthy. I know he's been trying his best to set up new bases, but maybe that should actually have been his target all along. Yeah, so this is, by the way, the exact approach that the Balance Council is trying to, not remove out of the game, but reduce in strength. Basically what Ryung is, like, this is not quite the same as flying your command center to the corner of the map, but it is the modern day equivalent at the highest level, you know? Like, we're making it practically impossible for the Terran base here to get, well, attacked. And Ryung is saying, yo, you mine out the rest of the map, I'll hang out in my corner, and then we fight one more time. SHIN is reading this correctly, though. I actually really like the way that he's approaching the pacing of this game. He knows that 3-3 takes a very long time, but he fired up a second Spire regardless, because he felt where this game was going, and this is actually big. Like, in the final battle, these are the type of upgrades that really do matter, but you have to decide that you go for those. Well, maybe 15 minutes or so before the total ending of the game. Takes a while. Ryung now has to be content, apparently, with long distance mining, a little bit of gas here, maybe a few mineral fields. Yeah. And in the meantime, this expansion over here is really juicy. I was a little afraid previously that SHIN was going to send in 50 Banelings up this choke point. I think that would have been game over for the Zerg. That's what I would have done. I'm very good at losing games. But I'm glad that SHIN decided better of it after he saw the situation he was dealing with. And he decided, you know what? No. What I need is Brute Lords here. I'll take one of those bases that still has some cash in it, and we'll try and see if we can get the job done. What he's trying to do right now is get the siege tanks to unsiege, so the rest of the Zerg army can potentially swarm in. There's a handful of Vikings available. It's not a lot, but at least it's good enough. Well, we do have to be careful about the ghosts. Ryung, by the way, has a massive army. He's had a very small amount of workers for quite a long time now, and is replacing any of the lost workers as well with additional army. So he's only down to 33 SCVs, which is not a lot. Slowly moving onwards. Trying to get onto the creep. Oh, I don't think he can fight, man. No, no way. SHIN cannot push in here. There's 0% chance he can push in here. I mean, we can see what's set up there, but he obviously doesn't have that info, and for all he knows, there's like 7 layers of siege tanks. Like a wedding cake of Terran over here. Ryung paid a lot of money for it. He's gonna try his best. Get every flavor of Terran he can get. The Brute Lords. Additional ones, that is, coming up. We're going 17 Brute Lords with 5 more Corruptors on the production tab too. Tactical nuke. I quite like the nuke here, actually. The nuke is really clever because he sees the slow push of the spores. Oh my god, we decide to commit? That's so brave. It's right over there. Get out of there, dude. Get out of there, Solar. Wait, no. I mean SHIN. Flashbacks. A little bit of Zerg PTSD kicking in. He wanted to snipe that one ghost that was casting it. Okay, here we go. Couple abductions? No, just the one. The queens are coming in. Vikings are actually the main target here, which is kind of cool. Yeah, abducting the Vikings. I like the anti-armor missile, by the way. Ryung actually making a Raven. He did once more, though, secure that base, but he is flat broke right now. And SHIN still with some money in the bank, fully maxed out. He's slowly chipping away, and this is apparently the opportunity that Ryung, well, wasn't hoping for, but the one that he is forced to take. Moving down the ramp into the Zerg static defense. It seems to be one of the worst fights he could ever take, but he doesn't really have much of an opportunity anymore right now. At least there's an anti-armor missile, but you do actually have to hit the Brute Lords as well in the process, and it looks like the Brute Lords, the Swarm, reigns supreme. It's SHIN who obtains the victory, 2-0. Whew, what a game.